Well, dude, this was a long time overdue. Welcome to the
Amen.
podcast. Run the
Thank you.
plays.
Yes, I
And
love
what
it.
better person to have? You have an extensive playbook that I'm looking forward to diving into.
I do.
Yeah, but
I
thanks
do.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So let me ask, before, like
Yes.
what was the before life before real estate? What did you even do?
Yeah, so I've done all kinds of different jobs. So I never really knew what I wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to make a lot of money. Um, and so
And where did that even come from?
just growing up, both my parents worked really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a few times where I came home from school and there was a pink slip on the gate, and it just said like the power was off and it was summer. Here
Wow.
in Arizona, and it was
Yeah.
like my parents worked really, really hard. Yeah, and it's just life happens. It's
Yeah.
nothing, nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Um, but the cool thing is now my mom runs a team for us up in Show Low and
Nice.
just slays it. So
Yes. There's
um,
no more pink slips.
yeah, no more pink
Yeah.
slips. Yeah.
But that's cool. So that drive of, hey, I don't want that to happen to me. I want to go find something to make a lot of money.
Correct.
So what's some of the things that you did prior to real estate?
Yeah, so I owned a little landscape company
Your own?
with yeah
Like you
me
started yourself?
yeah we called it White Boys Landscaping. Yeah, we tried to make it funny. Some people thought it was funny, some people didn't, but that went well for a little while. I did every
How old were
multi-level.
you during that?
18, right out of high school.
Nice.
We
Did you
went
sell it?
No, we just
Just
stopped and
kind of
then we
stopped.
all got jobs essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, but how we got that going, we rollerbladed the neighborhoods and just flyered
Nice.
with rollerblades on.
That's killer.
Yeah, so that was pretty
That's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. And what actually took us out was a guy didn't pay us. And so it kept going back and we kept going because he said he was going to pay us.
Uh,
And then one of the checks didn't clear, so we went back to get another one. The next one didn't clear, and then we didn't understand that they were charging us every time it didn't clear. They would charge us too, the bank would.
oh,
So then, I mean, we had no idea. We were 18,
yeah.
and so that's kind of what took us out was the guy that
Uh,
didn't pay us
yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
early on. Yeah,
Yeah. So what
but
was that transition? Like, how did you even figure out, like, hey, I want to do real estate instead?
yeah. So I ended up finding my wife. We were dating for a long time. She went to school in Florida. This was right, like probably 6, 8 months out of high school. And she ended up moving to Florida to go to school for 2 years. We did long distance for 2 years.
Wow.
Um,
And you
in
survived that.
yeah, that was
Good for
wild.
you, man.
Yeah, it was we
Was
Friday
there a lot
nights
of
were like
trips?
yeah, not a lot. We didn't have
No.
money, so it
Yeah.
was cams. You know how you had a cam at that time, a
Uh-huh.
screen cam or
Yeah.
whatever. So it was that, and then we would play like poker. We would go in and play free poker online and run like a table, and then we would chat during it, and it was awesome.
That's
So
so cool.
yeah, it was like our date night. We would play
Yeah.
poker together. We never play poker now ever, but anyway, it
I
was
was
like
gonna
our
say you
date
should
night
start a
thing.
poker club or
Yeah,
something. Like,
something
just take people out.
for sure. Yeah, just run a whole table.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she ended up going to school in Florida, and then she, long story short, moved back, and she was there for 2 years. She changed her degree up a little bit, and was like, I got to go to Tucson, and I'm like, well, I'll go with you, I guess.
That's a little closer.
Yeah. So I went to Tucson. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an accountant. So I took some accounting classes. I'm like, this sucks.
Mm.
I don't
Want to
want
make money, not count it.
Yeah, I don't want to do this, right? And so I just started taking classes to try and figure out what I wanted to do. At one point I wanted to be a meteorologist. I wanted to be an anchorman. Like I wanted all kinds of
Wow.
different things. Yeah. And so what had happened was I was doing asbestos, mold, and lead. I would oversee that work being done. And I was traveling all over the state at the time. I had my certifications and stuff like that. And that was one of my jobs. And then I had another job that I would drive back and forth from Phoenix to Tucson every weekend to work. And then we still weren't making it work, right? Like
Yeah.
we're two starving students, and FAFSA wasn't enough, and
Mm.
student loans and all that. So my wife was on the bus to go to school, and there was just a sign, and it just said, "Get your rent paid for by working at the front office." And so she comes home and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go apply for this job," and I'm like, "Stop. We're here for you. I'll go apply for the job."
Wow.
So I went and applied for the job, got the job on the spot, and I loved it. And it was a leasing agent. I essentially became a leasing agent for the front office. There was 14 of us, and I learned so much. But I got really good at leasing up these little student 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom. I got really good at it. And so eventually they were like, "Hey, do you want to manage?" They wanted me to manage all of the leasing agents. This was about nine months in, and my wife was just finishing school, and so that was when our decision, like, "Hey, are we gonna move back up, or are we staying in Tucson?" And we loved it in Tucson. You know, a small town feel.
Yeah.
You know, it was like talking to your neighbor, right, and they lived far away. It was pretty cool. The small town feel, and it's something you don't really get in Mesa, Arizona.
No.
You know, and so that's when we had decided, you know, we want to be around our family and everything. We moved back up to the valley, and I took a job managing helping manage an apartment complex on Gilbert and University. Yeah.
Okay.
And so essentially that was Canadian money, and so they would go in and buy apartment complexes and flip them.
Wow.
And so we would go in, get the riffraff out, and then I would go in and lease them back up. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. We got really, really good at it. And that's what moved me. We moved back up here, and I did that for a solid 18 months. And my wife was a sign language interpreter at Mountain View High School, which was my old high school. So it was
That's cool.
really, really cool. Really, really cool. And so we always wanted kids. And I think I was 24, 25, and she was 24, 23, right under there. And we're like, okay, it's time for us to have a kid, you know. So she gets pregnant, and then it was like, okay, she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and I wanted that too, you know. And so we weren't doing that off of property management, because after that I joined Marcus Green over at KW. I'd managed rental homes, 150 of them all over the valley.
Wow.
And so I did that for almost 2 years, and then after that is when Callie got pregnant. And then that's when it was like, hey, we can't really have you be a stay-at-home mom off of $41.50 a month.
Right.
You know? And so I went to Marcus, and I was like, hey, man, I need $41.50 a month. And he's like, I can't pay you that. And I get it.
Right.
Like, it's property management. You
Yeah.
know, like you can't, it's just the level of how much you can pay, you know? And so that's when I had joined Adam Lee's team after that.
Okay. Wow.
So,
Now, you were licensed at the time now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
okay.
licensed, right after I moved up to the valley. I moved to the corporate side because they loved the way I was working. So like, hey, you want to come work at corporate? And I'm like, corporate? Heck yeah.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah, I'll be there. Well, essentially I ended up being a glorified assistant. I was answering the phones and stuff like that. I'm like, I got to be talking to people.
Right.
I'd come home, and Callie would be like, my wife would be like, you weren't happy. Like, this is nuts. You got to do something else. And then that's when I decided to go get my license.
That's cool that she knows you so well.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously you've been together that long, but that was
Yeah.
that was there, right?
Yeah.
That she could pick that up and then you take it and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it
what
was-
was the start like? You know, starting in real estate.
That was the grind, dude.
So what year was this?
I started in 2015
Okay.
on Adam Lee's team. He literally, what got me is like, he said an idiot can sell a house a month. And I'm like, well, I'm an idiot. I'll sell a house a month, you know? And literally, he was like, just do what I tell you. I'm like, fine. You just tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
What's some of the stuff?
So I was cold calling from 9 to noon, and I'd bring my lunch every day. And it's funny because you hear people like Amir or Sergio Santizo or Ben Ardondo or people that were back at that KW office on Rule and the 60.
60.
And they remember I'd walk in with my little lunch, and I'd jump in the same phone booth every day. So I would call from 9 to noon, and then I'd take a lunch from like noon to 1. And then if I didn't have appointments or something like that, I'd meet with Adam, go over like what I did from 9 to noon, and we would talk about it. And then I would get right back on the phone.
Nice.
It was like when he told me, get on the phone,
Yeah.
I got on the phone. You know,
Okay.
it wasn't like, it was like I just, my body was like, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Take the emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're learning and succumb to what you're learning.
Yeah.
You know?
What's
Does that
some of
make
that
sense?
stuff that you would go over? Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so in that, I call it game film.
Yep.
So you're going over the
Exactly.
game film with him of the morning, and then
Correct.
you're implementing it that afternoon, where most people
Exactly.
are like, all right, well, thanks, boss. I'll do that tomorrow morning. Have a good rest of your day.
Correct.
Right? And so
Yeah.
you're getting like double time
Yeah.
of results.
He would have me take notes of stuff that I stumbled on. So if I stumbled on a script or I stumbled on a question that this was cold calling.
Yeah.
Right. So, it
You're
was
hearing
brutal.
objections
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. And
Oh, yeah. So, you better, if you didn't come with a list of stuff,
Right.
it was like, dude, you didn't make your calls.
You didn't make the calls.
Yeah. Right.
What'd you
So,
do in the phone booth?
yeah. It's like, come on. What are you doing in the phone booth? Looking at Facebook? Right. So, that's what we would go over. How many calls, how many contacts per call. Like back then you didn't track conversations, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a way to track how long you were on the phone with somebody, right? Like
You're manually dialing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, so he didn't even have Boomtown yet. Boomtown was just getting going, right? As this was happening. And so, I would write it down on a piece of paper and I would create a box. And that box is where I'd write all my notes for that client. And then we would go over each one.
Wow.
And then he would say, okay, call this person back and say this. Call this person back, set this appointment, and you and I are going to show up and go do this. And I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd tell him, hey, we've got an appointment for tomorrow at 4. Okay, cool. We would go. He would do the whole appointment, and I would just listen. I had to shut up. He told me, hey, you're quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing anything. And then, like, if I wasn't making enough calls or something was messed up with my scripting, he would make me video myself and then send it to him.
Wow.
Right? Like,
How
that
lucky.
was powerful.
Yeah, how lucky to have that kind of a mentor.
Oh, exactly. Like
Right.
that's what, when he said, like, just do what I tell you. Okay.
Yeah. Because you never know who you're going to get. Like, that you fell into that office, that he was there, that he had
Correct.
the opening, that he took the chance.
Exactly.
That you took the chance. It's
Correct.
like
It's
fate,
wild.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it what you will.
Whatever.
Yeah. But there's something there.
Yeah. But I think that mentor-mentee relationship is so important, especially coming out, new agents coming in the business. They think
Correct.
like, could you imagine if you had just gone on your own? Like, yeah, I can sell a house. Like,
Yeah.
and just go.
It's a whole different
And look,
ballgame.
there's great training programs within that platform,
Absolutely.
but without someone there going, hey,
That
just follow
accountability.
this plan. Have the accountability. Meet me at 1
Correct.
for the game film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, this person's at E, and you're moving people from A to Z, but you're used to moving as a newbie. You're like, I'm used to A to B.
Right.
Okay, but now what? Hey, this person hit me with an F question.
Mm-hmm.
Crap. Well, what do I do when G comes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's where that accountability comes in. Whether it's a coach, a team leader, a mentor, a mentee. Oh,
It's the fast pass.
it
Yeah.
literally is.
So how
Yeah.
long did you stay on his team?
I stayed on his team for about 15, 18 months.
Wow, nice.
We had brought over my best friend at the time, and essentially he had convinced me to leave. But what you didn't know. Like, dude, when I left, it was a shock. Wild. Yeah.
What was the shock? What was some of the...
Just, you got to set up an email. Like, oh, yeah. Oh, you need signs. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think of that. You're on a team.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how do you fill out that paper?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we had people do that for us.
Where'd I get my business card?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then your wife's Googling, business card and Vistaprint. Here, is this one good? you know? Yeah, it's just
That was
like,
a shocker.
oh, massive.
Yeah.
Massive. And everything's more expensive than you think.
Yes.
I mean, I blew through my savings like in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I only had $5,000 in the savings. Like, yeah, that's all I need.
Is this a good so when I meet with new agents or
Yeah.
people that are going to get into the business or they're going to bounce into
Yeah.
their own, I
Yes.
always say, hey, treat it like a business and have at least 6 months of your own reserves survival number in there so that you're not having commission breath and being super stressed that
Correct.
first 6 months. You can at least pay yourself, pay your bills for 6 months without even closing a deal.
Dead.
Like, is that a good...
Dead perfect.
Okay.
Like, at the end of the day, that's what every person that comes on to join our team, what's your savings look like?
There you go.
And we want 6 months.
Because it hurts the team too, right?
It hurts everybody.
You don't want them to fail.
No,
I'm setting you up to fail.
yeah,
Yeah.
legitly.
Yeah.
Like, who are you as a leader?
Right.
If week 2 you're like, oh, I can't make my mortgage payment,
Yes.
well, then you should have gotten a job,
Right.
because that's not fair to anybody. I mean, we know that the fruit takes time, right? That's what this is. That's that grind period. And now with the market we're in, we're all back. I was just at lunch with someone. We're talking about how we're doing things now that we haven't done in years, right? Just because you have to go back to that grind season just because of what the market brings.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what
so
we're
you
in.
left, you went on your own, you go
Yep.
through the stumbling blocks of setting up that business now
Yes.
on your own.
Yep.
And now it's been that since?
No.
So
yeah.
okay.
So yeah,
What happened?
it got kind of wild. So after about 6 months of us working, he came to me and we split. He said, "Oh, I'm holding
Your
you."
friend?
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Okay.
holding you back. He wanted to do more of the financial banking, whole life policy. We were doing that and real estate. So we were doing
Oh,
two
okay.
different things.
Yep.
But we both were working both.
You're talking like the cash value,
Exactly.
infinite banking.
Yep,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
exactly.
cool, okay.
Yep. Great. And after that, he didn't talk to me for a year and a half.
Oh,
I mean, we were best friends.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like, I mean, in high school, like that was the dream, right? Like,
yeah.
oh, we're gonna be best friends, and our wives were best friends, and yeah, he ended up not talking to me for a year and a half. So that put me into a pretty big depression. Like, you know my energy. Like, I'm
yeah.
a super high I. Like
Yep.
it takes a lot to like bring me down, and that
That would do
was
it.
like
Yeah.
that was it. And so I was in
Wait,
that.
can we fast forward though? Are you guys back friends now? or-
Nah, I mean, kind of. We text back and forth a little bit.
Okay.
It'll just never be the
It's
same.
not the same, but
yeah, but
okay.
yeah, cordial. Everything's fine.
Yeah, okay.
He's killing it,
Good.
as he should.
Still doing that?
Yep,
Okay, good.
yep, killing it as he should. So it's
Good.
great.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay, so that happened, and so now you're totally on your own.
yeah, legitly like on my own. And so essentially, I was failing my family. You know, I was going to work, but I really wasn't working. And so our bank account was just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And come Christmas time, I'm up with my parents and my dad. We're on the back porch, and he's a Marine. You know, he shows up early. You're in time. You show for your family. You're honest, pride. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you show up. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but here's the thing: like, he doesn't get involved. He's never really had to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're sitting on the back porch, and he looks at me and he was like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Dude, Callie's pregnant." Because Callie's pregnant with our second at this time.
Mm-hmm.
We have Wyatt. He's a little under a year old. And he's like, "Dude, you got to buck up and get it together." With some few choice words, you know, Vietnam,
Yep.
Marine.
Yeah.
So there was some words there. And so
And when he speaks, you listen.
yeah,
Because he
and-
doesn't speak often.
correct. And that's where it was perfect. It's what I needed.
Yep.
He knew it's what I needed. And I left the next morning, got up early, and I was like, "Babe, we're out of here." And we left. I went to KW East Valley, which is where I started in property management. I struck a deal with them, pushed my cap out for 7 months. They gave me an office for 7 months. They didn't charge me. It literally made it to where I could make it, which was
That's
a
a huge
miracle.
help.
A miracle. Like little things like that you take for granted, right,
Yeah.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look back and you're like, that was actually a big deal.
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal. And so, you know, I closed my door. I was listening to Moana at the time. That's when Moana came out, and my wife was 7-8 months pregnant, and I get a phone call, and she says, "Hey, we don't have any money." And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm working." And she's like, "We don't have any money. I got to go to DES." And I'm like, "Okay, sounds good. Love you. I'm working. Bye." Right? And so she calls me, "Hey, I need a receipt from the bank statement." I log in, and it said like $6.28 or $3 in the savings and $33 in the checking. I still have the receipt.
Mm.
And I sent that to her, and I get home. right when I get home, I close the door. She looks at me and she's bawling. And she's like, that was the most humiliating thing I've ever done. And she's like, I had Wyatt on my hip. She's 8 months pregnant. And she's like, they turned us down.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm like losing it.
Right.
She's losing it. And I'm like, you look at me. And I'm like, I swear on everything, you will never step foot in a DES office ever again. And it was like off to the races. She didn't bother me at work. I didn't hang out with friends. I didn't take phone calls that didn't associate with work. Like when I say I went to in extreme, it was almost unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no option, right? And so ever since then, it's been, I just make sure that I get better every day. I make sure that I take care of the people in my world. And I try to make sure that I'm a huge and amazing example for my kids, because they're it. Like, since then, we've had 2 more. Like, and I told Callie, like, our 4th is like amazing. She's like, her name's Daisy, and she's 8 months old. And I'm getting these experiences with her that I didn't get with those other 2 because of the grind that we were talking about. Right. So I told her, I was like, man, I'd have a million kids if they all were like her. But, I think we're done now. But it's just perspective.
Right.
Right. And that's what I'm honing in on with my team right now is like, when you put things in perspective, you'll actually do the hard things. Mm-hmm. Like if you're disconnected, if you're burnt out, it's something in you that you need to change because you're detached from the emotion of why you're doing it. Because if you can attach the emotion to it, you'll do it.
Right.
And maybe it's you shed a tear because of the thought of the DES. You're damn right you're going to get on the phone after thinking about that.
Right.
Or maybe it's you had to turn down the Disneyland trip because you couldn't do something for your kids. Like this last team meeting, we got super raw, dude. Like it was so good. We had agents literally talking about their why, talking about their kids, their grandkids, these amazing things. And then on the screen, we literally had them read, I'm sorry, Suzanne, I can't take you on that beautiful vacation that I had planned for us because I won't pick up the phone and call 20 people a day.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right.
Oh.
Dude, half our team I'm over here just bawling.
Oh.
Like but it's the emotion. And my whole point was like, you guys, when we bring emotion to it, like, yes, it works in that time. But what happens tomorrow morning?
Right.
Everyone's pumped right now.
Mm-hmm. The motivation goes away.
So how do we...
It might not even show up.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do we flip the switch?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I've always told Callie. Like, you got to flip the switch.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we flip the switch to be on for our kids, for our wives, for our husbands, for whoever we need to be on? Because we all have somebody that needs us.
Yeah.
You may be sitting there at 18 years old thinking, oh, I don't need somebody, or someone doesn't need me. Bull. Mm-hmm. There's somebody that's watching you. There's somebody that is looking at you for guidance in something.
Yeah. It could even be the future you.
Amen. That's it, dude.
Dig that one.
That was good.
So how did the team even evolve? So you flip the switch, you start hammering the call, the results start showing up.
Yes, that's how it worked.
What was the first hire for you?
First hire was an agent. It was actually, everyone's like, hire a TC first, right? And I just
were you already outsourcing a TC stuff? Or?
At this time, no.
Right. Okay. So that wasn't even the first thing you started doing.
No.
You were like, okay, I'm doing the whole soup to nuts myself.
Yep.
And then I'm going to hire another agent.
Yeah.
And that agent was to do what? Because I've seen the 50-50 agent. I've seen the showing agent. I've seen what was the first agent?
The first agent I hired, he's still on our team now. His name's Sterling. So I just had him shadow me, and I said, you want to be a real estate agent? And he's like, yeah, cool. Do everything I do. What Adam did is what I did with him. And he did. And so he was, and what actually got him was, I sold him a house. He saw my face on Zillow, as out of all things. Right? It was wild. Um, and so he called me 3 months after I sold him his house. And he's like, dude, I hate my job. And at this time, I had 13 pending. I closed 12 the month that he came on. Had no TC. And
That's a big number
it's a lot.
by yourself with no TC.
It was a lot, dude. I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning doing paperwork.
Yeah.
Callie would come and get me. She'd be like, you need to go to bed. And then I'd go to bed, wake up at 6, on it, right? And I mean, my broker would come to me and be like, dude, you've got 4 checks on my desk that I can't hand you because the paperwork's not turned in. And I'd be like, sorry, dude, which ones are they?
Yeah.
And then I would take a day, get all the paperwork out. And when I met with my mentor, Hani, he's like, dude, why didn't you tell me earlier? Go get a TC. They'll help you. And then so I hired the TC and Sterling the same month.
There you go.
And that's how that worked out. But
You listen to your coaches really well.
yeah,
A lot of people don't.
that's the problem.
Defensiveness, no, too much money. They reject the guidance.
Correct.
You from every story you've talked about with your mentors,
Yeah.
you're like, they told me to do that and I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does that come from?
My dad, my mom. I mean, they told me to do something. I usually did it.
Yeah.
But it was out of respect for my parents. But my dad was very,
Yeah.
like,
Marine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's growing up from my parents. Like, my mom has a drive that, like, I think that's where my drive comes from. Like, she's like, I'll take on the world. And she would,
Nice.
which is amazing.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is good.
It's nice because I'll call her and I'll be like, hey, remember, you're supposed to be part-time. I'm like, how many deals you closing next month? You're supposed to be part-time, lady.
How much is she putting up in show love?
I mean, they're doing well. So they've got 5 agents. I mean, they'll close 80 transactions up there this year, probably.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do it.
That's
yeah.
killer.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Yeah. Okay, back to the hire. So you
Yeah.
hire the TC, you hire Sterling same day.
Yes, hired Sterling, and Sterling, I just said, dude, follow everything I do. And so he was making calls like, no, I don't like that. Say it this way. And then in his spare time when he wasn't calling, I said, comb the MLS. I've got a cash buyer. And I did. I had a guy that was like, hey, if you find good deals, I'll pay you the commission on it. I'm like, sweet. I didn't even know what a wholesale was then. No clue. Didn't care. Right? And so I was actually finding him his flips. And then he wouldn't even list them with me. He had his own license. Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a deal. So that's how he actually got his first deal.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after that, the hardest thing for an agent, I always tell the biggest domino, is closing your first deal.
Yeah.
Once you close your first deal, you're like, I can do this.
I can do it.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
The belief.
I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
You don't believe you're a realtor until you actually do it. Right? And then when you're handing someone keys that they didn't think they could buy a house, like, and they're crying, like, it's just
Wow.
just changes things for you, that gives you that confidence that you need to become better.
Yes.
But it's only by doing.
And to go for the next one.
And the next one. And the next one. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then when you saw that, was
Yeah.
it like, okay, now how many Sterlings can I get?
Yeah,
like,
no,
how's
not
that
even.
vision? Because
Not even. It was literally like, cool, thanks, Sterling, for helping me out. You're changing your life too. Cool. It wasn't even a team.
okay,
He texted me 3 months later, this long text about how I'm helping change his life and how he's so happy. Him and his wife are so happy. These visions, these plans, sends me his vision board, all this stuff. And I'm showing my wife and I'm like bawling because I'm like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. And then the next hire happened to be Jerem, who is actually my partner in the team and partner in all of my other businesses. And we grew up 2 houses down from each other. And so he was calling me because he was working for a commercial broker. And he's like, they won't let me do residential. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, well, I'll give you money. He's like, cool. So we're doing deals, not just like 1 or 2,
yeah,
And he meets with his boss. And he's like, how long is it going to take for me to make $120,000 a year? And please know, Jerem is one of the most disciplined people I've ever met in my life. He had his house paid off at 26 years old. Like,
wow,
this guy is dialed. Amazing. Him and his family are incredible. He's got 4 kids. Like, His wife is amazing. And so they tell him 10 years. 10 years to make 120. And he's like, what? Jerem's got ambition, drive, wants to build legacy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He calls me and I said, Jerem, dude, I kind of got him like how Adam got me. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, he told me how much he was making. I said, dude, an idiot can make that in real estate. And he's like, okay, I'm in. So then he comes over and he closed his first deal on his 4th month. He was dialing from 7 to 7, 4 months in a row.
Wow.
Any other person would have given up.
Right.
Yeah, he closed 58 transactions that year.
In his first year? Wow.
Yeah. Wild, huh?
Yeah.
Wild. But yeah, so that's when it was like, okay,
So he hit his number.
Yeah, by a lot. Yeah.
A
So
decade early.
yeah, so now it's just at that point it's like, wow, there's receipt after receipt. And then it was organic. We didn't start offering even that we were recruiting or hiring till we had like 25 agents.
Wow.
Everything before that was, oh, we hear that you're a good place to come to, or hey, we were in school with so and they told us about Cool, or hey, so and so at Title, or it was like just because I tried to treat everyone with respect always, right? And I still do that. So
It's a great characteristic.
yeah, and you always try to take the high road, even when others may think you're not. Like, as long as you're trying to take the high road, you'll be fine.
For sure. Yeah. So how many agents you have now?
We're at 92
Agents.
agents.
How many like admin, staff kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have 9 VAs.
Mm-hmm.
And then admin staff, another 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is roughly 10 years in the business.
Yes. Yep. And then we've got 6 leaders that run teams for us
Okay.
all around the state and St. George, Utah.
Okay. Is that the only out of state?
Yep. For now,
Okay.
that's the only out of state. Eventually, we'll be in all 50 states. The system's too
that the
good
plan?
the system's
Yeah.
too good to hold it from people.
Cool.
So
keep it a secret.
Yeah, right. It's just when you find a good person to lead an area, that it doesn't matter where the place is.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and that's kind of what we found. Like Margot, we've been in business now for 4.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she's killing our our Tucson team.
Tucson market.
And like her agents, every one of them have 3 or more pending.
Wow.
Yeah, in Tucson.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
That's great.
Yeah, she's an amazing leader.
How long has she been with you?
4 years.
And what was she doing before?
She was managing a massive contracting company in Tucson that did like $80 million a year.
Whoa.
Massive.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made her want to move?
She was not happy.
Mm.
And she wanted to be a real estate agent, and my brother connected her and I. Yep.
funny.
And then so she was an agent down there for 2.5 years before we ever brought on somebody. No, 2 years before we ever brought on an agent.
Mm-hmm.
We needed her to learn the process. So we needed to learn how to do homes. We need to learn how to learn all of it.
Yeah. What's your biggest pain point right now?
We need more agents.
Okay.
We've got 130,000 leads in our system.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you get the right agents?
We run them through our 86-day training.
Oh.
So there's still our talent director, Steven, first has a conversation with them on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It usually lasts 30, 45 minutes. He's a Hawaiian.
But who's he calling? Is he calling or they're coming in or both?
Both.
Okay. And if they're coming in, how are they coming in?
Social media.
Okay.
Usually they either see me or
Organic
someone else.
or paid?
We don't pay
Okay.
on social
So
right now.
organic, everyone's posting videos and they're
Yep.
like, oh my God, I vibe with that
I
guy.
saw
Let
your
me
team meeting.
DM it.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
I saw the video about this, or I
Yep.
saw the podcast with Greg.
Mhm.
Just stuff like that. And then if essentially, but whether they reach out to us or we reach out to them, we take the same approach.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually have a 30 to 45-minute phone call, and it's just getting to know them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, are they going to be a good culture fit? That's what matters most.
What are some of the questions you guys ask to figure out the culture?
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do for fun?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your why. Like, why are you in real estate? We're really trying to figure out who are they as a person. Like, what'd you do before real estate? Right? Like you can tell a lot about a person,
Just get them talking.
just ask
Get them
questions
talking.
about them.
Yep.
People like to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Once you get them doing it.
Right.
But Steven's so good at it. He's a Hawaiian man. So he's like, hey, brother. And people open up.
Yeah.
And so he knows
Just
on
the
that
tonality
call.
alone.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes. So, and he knows on that call whether he's inviting them into the office after that.
Okay.
If he sees too many red flags, he's moving on.
Yep.
Right. And then if he's bringing them into the office, there's a high probability that he wants them.
Okay.
Right. But at the same time, like we're telling him, go meet with 5 people. Like we may not be their perfect fit, but at the end of the day, you got to go meet with multiple people.
Yes. Okay. So now they come to the office to do the office visit. What's that look like?
So that's usually another 30, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Steven thinks he will hire them, he brings them through the entire office. I'll usually meet them, Jerem. They meet agents in the bullpen. They'll meet some of the office staff, like really feel what it's like to be on our team.
Yep.
As long as you're in the office.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, he usually lets them go, and then he'll decide. It's usually his decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now he decides, he brings them on, and then it's 86 days of
The 86-day training. So then we have an onboarder.
Okay.
And please know, like this is all. I mean, it was all me at first. I was
Yes.
the onboarder. I was the recruiter. I was the sales, all of it.
Heck
you know.
yeah.
I mean, in Jerem, like that. That's the beautiful thing is like when you find someone that will run with you, dig in and go.
Yeah. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, I mean, Jerem managed 10 agents, didn't get paid on any of them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He just did it to help.
Yep.
It's just like when you find people like that, then you're like, okay, how do we be partners?
Right.
Okay, how do we figure this out?
It's good character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do we run together?
Mm-hmm. So you got the onboarder person, brings them in, and now they put them through the 86 days?
Yeah, they run them through the whole 86. So Nick's been with me 7 years. So he's been through the down, the good, all of it. So he knows how we want an agent to show a house, how we want an agent to open escrow, how we want an agent talking to clients, how we want an agent offer template. I mean, all of it. This 86-day training is like 2 days before football camp.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it's all that. Like, hey, here's how we show a property. Here's how we do the buyer consult. Here's
Offers.
how we do the
Correct.
Yes. Here's how
Go
you sign
meet with the
seller
lender,
agreement.
talk about this. Go meet with the title, talk about this. Go meet with Rachel, talk about your commission and how the commission splits work and what fees go to what. Like we want people knowing everything,
Yeah.
right? And so we try to put all that in there. What we found was those first 2 weeks are gnarly
Yeah.
because on day 3 we have them do 1,000 dials.
Okay. I was wondering, when does the call come?
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, okay.
Day 3 it's 1,000 dials. Day 4 it's 500.
So is this like a 999 Mojo dialer?
Uh-huh.
Just okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 130,000 leads, so they're
Plenty of calls to make.
And here's the thing: like when I did the 1,000 dials, I cold called,
Mm.
right? Like
Yeah.
for years we cold called, so we didn't have enough leads. Now these are people that are raising their hand.
Yeah. They're kind of warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where the fire starts, right? You're learning your scripting, you're learning your practice. We do script practice every morning at 8:30. Like it's hands on. There's videos you have to watch. There's quizzes and tests. I tell people it's like the Southwest training for real estate, though.
Is this all in like Trainual?
It's in Trainual.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, we
Okay,
dial
nice.
we dial it all out.
Yeah.
I actually have a really cool download coming out that I'm working on right now. That it's for the 86-day training because I found as I'm coaching people, as I'm talking to agents all across the country, that's the thing they need. They don't have an onboarding system. They can bring on an agent, but it's then what?
Right. Yeah.
And so like my first one was a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Do this every day
Yeah.
and then report back.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
So anyway, now it's like intense.
Yeah.
But we do that on purpose, right? Like week 3, it's disc analysis. Understand who you're talking to. Week 4, love languages. Like we're teaching people how to be better people,
That's awesome.
right? They have better marriages because
Yeah.
they're learning this stuff,
Mhm.
which that's the goal.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that
Yep.
my first question was actually, as it came up, was what percentage of the agents that are coming in are like brand new versus
yeah.
they were already seasoned and coming into the training?
It's a 50-50 right now.
Really?
It's wild.
Now, success rate of making it through the 86.
4 out of 10.
And is it the same percentage of 40%, whether they were brand new versus seasoned?
No, because the seasoned, we do a 3-weeker.
Oh, okay.
The seasoned, we
More
break
condensed.
in. Yeah, because I don't need to teach
Because
them
they
how to
might
write
know
an
now.
offer.
I got it.
Seasoned, you have to close more than 60 deals.
Okay.
Your lifetime.
Yep. So if they're over 60, they can be on the 3-week plan.
Correct.
Okay.
And that, I mean, and you can finish it in 2 weeks if you want. Like, it depends how fast you go.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still doing your 1,000. You're still doing your 500. But that's more of how are you having your conversation on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
We're teaching your skills on the phone.
Yep.
Like that's where we hone in for the 3-week training. Zillow. We're honing in, like, how do you have a Zillow conversation? We have a whole separate training just for Zillow calls.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's dialed. It's awesome.
We talked about talking about their money coming onto the team. Do you talk about their
Yep.
money while they're on the team?
Yeah.
Like their own personal budget and where they're investing and
Yeah. So what and it's really cool. We're working on a really cool tax class. So do you know Hani and his wife Jessica?
no.
So Hani is the KW commercial like guy.
Okay.
Anyway, his wife is like the CPA master. So anyway, I'm working on a whole CPA class to where she'll come in like every 3 months and teach LLCs, what you should be doing as a new agent, all that stuff, because people don't have that. And for a long time, we didn't.
Right.
You know, we've had a couple CPAs come in. We've had a couple people talk about wealth. The hard thing is, right now, everyone wants to talk wealth when they're not even making the 20 conversations.
Right. Yeah.
So it gets to where, like, okay, we can talk about that like every other month.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, we need to talk about it more. No.
Let's talk about dials.
Yes, let's talk about
Let's
conversations.
get the results.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because then you have the money to do stuff. And right now, like, you got to be careful. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 months right now.
Mm-hmm.
You used to be able to predict and predict down and be like, hey, this is the way it's going to look.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're recruiting as a team, you're not going to be able to predict.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So what's next? I mean, obviously you're looking for the new agent. So are you
Yep.
doing anything different to go after the agents? Like more people calling for the new agents or?
No, I'm just being louder on social media so
Mm-hmm.
people just know us. A lot of people haven't met us yet.
Mm-hmm.
And once they do, they're like, wow. So something really cool is we're inviting people to our team meetings.
Okay.
I mean,
Do you also host them virtually too?
we do for our agents,
Okay.
but we should. That's a good idea. I'll do that.
Just something.
Yeah, I like
Especially
that.
if you're talking about being in other states.
Yeah,
I
we
need
are.
other states to zoom into my meetings.
Yeah. And we do that for our current agents, but
Yeah.
we could do that for everybody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, we in electric training we do because you have to. That is my time, our time to really ingrain what we should be focused on for the next 30 days. You have their undivided attention for an hour and 15.
Yep.
After that, they're going off into the world,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's your time. And
How
I
often
think
do
it's
you do the
overlooked.
meetings?
We do them once a month.
Okay.
But we do some other meetings throughout the month, but
Yeah.
that's the big
The main.
team meeting, lunch,
Mhm.
everyone gets together, culture's driven, like, but we're honing in on training. Like this last one was disc analysis and understanding who you're talking to so you can stay on the phone longer. Because if you can stay on the phone longer, you can bring somebody's wall down.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's some of the other topics you've had?
I mean, right now it's just conversations.
Yep.
And then
But
how
better conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is no one's doing them.
Mm.
Like that, if you really look into your agents, like if you're a team leader and you look into your agent, like just pull up agent activity
Mm-hmm.
and you will be shocked.
Do you do you have someone that manages your data somehow?
Yeah.
And is it like, are you looking in Mojo or is it are you using like Sisu?
Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss. Okay.
Yeah, Follow Up Boss reporting is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
as
it'll
a
show
team
number
lead,
of contacts,
everything.
conversations.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's the key data points you're looking for?
Conversations. That's
Okay.
the main thing. It's 32 2-minute conversations equals a contract. That's what it is across the nation.
I love
Follow Up
it.
Boss, Cabin came out with it. I ran our stats. We were like 31.8.
Mm.
On a new agent, you're probably more like 50
Mm.
because they
Because
gotta
they don't
learn.
have-
Yeah.
Right. So they have to learn
How to move people through.
how to have the right conversation.
Mhm.
Yep.
So it's gonna take longer.
Yep. Wow. 32 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're measuring, and then is that like something that you pull up the report and you share it out with everybody? Is it
Everybody.
on the wall like a scoreboard?
We
Like,
have, I mean, agents pull it up. We have a leaderboard,
mm-hmm,
and I mean, it's right there in Follow Up Boss,
mm-hmm.
and they literally pull it up. Rio's beating me right now. Actually, it's cool. We're doing how March Madness does a bracket.
Yes.
We're doing that right now. We've got 45 of our 90 agents that have signed up, which 50% is hecka good in the
That's
summer.
really good.
Yeah, and so we've got 45 agents. We have, I forget how many teams of 3 it is. It started literally today.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it over 2 months. Right now it's a pool, and it's conversations driven. And you
Okay.
have 2 partners. It's you and 2 partners, so you don't let down your partner.
Yep.
And it's daily conversations. And
Do
it's
they have to be over 2 minutes?
have to be over 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it's you going against the other team, like March Madness style. It's going to be awesome.
How many daily conversations are you having that are over 2 minutes?
Because if you're not having more than 20
Mm-hmm.
or even 10,
Mm.
there shouldn't be anything else you're talking about. Nothing else matters.
Right.
Because what I found, right, when I look at my pending sheet for my team, you either have 3 pending or more,
Mm-hmm.
or 0.
Hmm.
You're either working and making the calls consistently daily,
Mm-hmm.
or you're not.
Mm. What's some of those top attributes that you've seen? Because you've seen a lot of agents, obviously on the team that are succeeding, but also the ones that haven't, and then some that haven't even made it the cut.
Yeah.
Some of the attributes that you see about those successful ones that are still making it.
Having something to work for.
So is that their why and
Uh-huh.
tying that emotion to it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's their kids, and sometimes, like, we've got one, he's 19. He just wants to build a life for his future family.
Mm.
I mean, that's digging into your why.
Right. Yeah.
And really figuring out the emotion to that,
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't grow up with it. Right? So, like, that's really getting deep.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that I think that's the key. Really, really figuring that out.
Where do you, at what point in that 86 days
Yeah.
are you bringing that up?
I mean, Nick's doing that early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steven's doing that early on in the interview too.
Yeah, it was one of the interview questions you asked.
Yep, and
Yeah.
then we're talking about it in all of our meetings now too.
Yeah.
Constant.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up your why, which I'm bringing up conversations, and then your perspective on why you're making the conversations. I'm trying to get people to understand, when you trigger your brain on why you're doing something, you'll do it.
Yes.
Right? Like, why does my wife have to nag at me 6 times to take the trash out? Well, the 8th time there was pain, she said it loud enough, annoyed enough for you to actually go do it. You see what I mean? Like, if you would have figured out, like, oh, that's annoying to me, I don't want to do that on the first one, and why you're going to do it, then you'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me, when I was making calls by myself, literally by myself, I would put a picture of my family right there. That's going to be why I do it.
Yeah.
And like now, I don't have it on right now, but most days I'm wearing a bracelet. Has all 4 of my kids' initials, and my kids gave me that last Father's Day. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so I look down, and it's usually before a podcast. Like, I'm surprised I don't have it right now. I forgot it this morning. But it's usually like before a podcast or speaking or something. I look down, and I internalize it, and then I'm like, fire. Boom.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's just these little things like...
No triggers.
Yeah. These little, like... These tiny hinges that move big doors is what John Shaplak always says, and it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's these massive things you do. It's not.
No.
It's these little habits that you change that just make a massive impact.
What's some new stuff that you're working on? Maybe some new habits that you have that you know you need to implement. I know you've talked about that, getting louder,
Yeah.
right? Is there some things that you're starting to add more into your daily routines?
Yeah. At night, I'm sitting down and just writing down my thoughts a little bit more. It helps me with stuff to post.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then,
Because when I wake up in the morning, I've just changed. Now when I wake up, it's like, how can I provide value today? What can I say today to make sure to impact somebody? Because if I go with that, the money doesn't matter. My family will be fine. My mission's fulfilled. My bucket is overflowing. When I get these messages, oh, I love this and I love that. Oh my gosh, my bucket's just overflowing. And then I take that home. And then I'm a better dad.
Yeah.
I'm a better husband. All of it.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, but something that I do that I started in October, I message my team every morning. Like this morning, it was like 7:15, but usually it happens between 5:30 and 6:30. I usually do a video or some kind of email, and it's just either something I'm thinking about, or maybe I'll go all tactical. Oh, interest rates just dropped today, guys. Get a hold of the lender and talk about this. Or, hey, this just happened. This is what we need to do. Or it's, hey, are we getting in the right mindset before we hammer the phones today? I don't care what you're doing. Are you getting outside and seeing the sun and breathing? Are you getting some fresh air? That might be, or it might be a motivational quote that I saw. It's something to where I'm trying to get their mind shifted before they're on Facebook, before they're on Insta, because once they're on there, it's done.
Right.
Your mind's over.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my thing, like, I have high energy, and I wake up with purpose, but I still wake up feeling like crap sometimes. And my whole thing is, if I have high energy, what's someone that doesn't have high energy? They need it.
Yep.
So that's where I'm like, okay, if 50% of my team think it's stupid, but the other 50% think it's cool, I'm cool.
I'm good. If
That's fine.
if I impacted one of them,
That's
right?
cool,
Just
man.
one of them.
Is
it every day? Is it 5 days a week, or you send
6.
them on the weekends?
I do it on Saturday as well.
Cool.
I just don't do I take Sunday off.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do Saturday because that's our Super Bowl. That's the one day I didn't want to miss.
Right.
I'm like, you guys, this is our day. Let's roll, baby.
Saturday's our Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I love
this
that.
is it. Like, you worked all week for today. And you're going to slack? No.
Uh-huh.
And my whole thing is, usually when it comes to Saturday, if you can schedule out your day right, you'll get the family time you need. Mm-hmm. You'll get the showings you'll get that need to get done. You'll get everything. It's okay if you don't update follow-up boss on Saturday. You can do that on Monday. You know what I mean? Give yourself a little grace because you're going to go and have pizza and a movie with your kids.
I like that.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that it's very high business level. I can tell the intensity, but it's the same focus of level of intensity on family.
Yeah.
Like, and it just exudes from you.
Yeah.
But I can tell that it's not just you. You lead by example, so the team follows that as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
That's my thing. You can have a successful, great business and have a successful life at home with your kids, because when I got into real estate freaking 12, 13 years ago, when I first got my license, the first question was asked, you going to be married to real estate? You going to be married to your wife? And I sat back and I was like, both. And she was like, I don't think she ever heard that before. I was like, both. And it's like, why can't you? And don't get me wrong, there were times there where we were having drag out fights because I wasn't communicating right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here's a little tidbit that I would love to talk about.
Sure.
There were times where she thought I hated what I was doing. I would make calls by myself. I would go home and talk about all the negative. I had this person say this. You don't want to know what this person said about you. Like, I'm cold calling.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking it on the chin, and then I'm going to have to go home and, how was your day? Oh, you want to know? I mean, this is supposed to be my person, right? Like, this is the person you can share everything with. No. Got to be careful. So I was doing that day after day after day. And then she's like, hey, I think you should go get a career. You need to go get a job.
9 to 5. Mm-hmm.
Literally her words. And I was like, what? I was stunned. Because internally I was so happy. I was shocked, and I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you're not happy. I can, like, listen to this. And I was like, oh,
all
no.
you spout off is negativity.
Yes.
Yes.
And I said, babe, I'm so sorry. I'm so happy. So then
she's shocked.
Yeah, I changed it. I flipped the switch, and then the next day I went home. I had this conversation. I talked to this client. I showed, because I was having those wins every day.
Yeah.
Yes, I was having the negative things, but I would go home and only share the negative.
Yeah.
So then that's when it worked for her too. She's like, okay, I got it. Also, another thing is I had her buy-in from day one. I had a goal. I wanted to make $250,000 a year. That's what I wanted. I knew that if I made that, it would change my life. And I needed her buy-in. And so I said, hey, and her thing is time. Time
She's
with me.
quality time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't care about things, money. Get rid of everything. If she could just have every minute with me, that's what she would pick.
That's awesome.
Right? It's amazing.
But that that is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the gift.
Correct.
It's not the words of affirmation. Right.
Correct.
Yes.
It's time. Like for her birthday, we did a staycation for her the weekend. Right.
Done.
Anyway, so I said, hey, I'll take you on a tropical vacation if we make $250. But I can't have you calling me between 9 and noon. I can't have you nagging me to be home. I need you to take the home front and run with it. I can't handle anything. I can't even open the mail. And she looked and she's like, anywhere? And I was like, yeah. I was like, where do you want to go? She's like, Hawaii. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii.
That's awesome.
And I was like, okay, Hawaii it is. And so that was the agreement. Even to this day, she doesn't call me between 9 and noon. It's just a habit now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
where in Hawaii did you go?
We went to Turtle Bay.
Love it.
And I rented a cottage on
Nice.
Turtle Bay. I made $256 that year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was really, really cool.
Do you do that with her now? I know you do business planning and targets and whatnot, but do you still do that and say, hey, if we get here, we're going to do this?
Yep. It drives her and me.
Yeah.
It's my seasons. I love talking about the seasons of grind and the seasons of when you're supposed to take it easy, right? And I just think that evolves with your relationship and where you're at and who needs what.
Yeah.
Right? There's no balance. There's not that. The balance is what you and your wife and you and your husband and you and your significant other choose.
Right.
That's what balance looks like in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? And so, that's our thing, man. We love vacations. We love creating memories with our kids. So it's like when we're on vacation, we're planning the next one. So
Like that.
and then usually on the way home, I have a conversation and it's not with just my wife. It's with my kids as well. Hey guys, that was an amazing vacation, right? And they're like, yeah, Dad, thanks so much. Like my kids are amazing. And I'm like, you guys, I loved it. It was amazing. But now you know what it means. It's go time for Dad. So we can go do this again. And they're like, no, we know, Dad.
Yeah.
So we went to Disneyland a few months ago. Story, if I can.
Yes.
And my son is 4. Wild. He's the best, though. Wild. He's me when I was growing up. Wild. And anyway, he wants to do the games at California Adventure in the back. There's the games where you can throw the ball and do the little squirt gun thing. And I said, hey, buddy, we don't have the money for that right now. And I wanted him to understand something. I don't like saying that, but I did this on purpose. And he goes, what do you mean? He didn't say it like that. He said, what? He's like, what? And I sat him down. And I said, hey, buddy, you know how Daddy goes to work every day? He goes, yeah. And I said, I work so you can go and do things like that. I work so we can go and have, and he had like a slushie in his hand. And I said, so we can have that and you can drink that. And so we still went and did it, right? Because I don't like doing the we don't have the money thing.
Right.
And so fast forward when we get home. We're on our way to basketball with my other son. And he goes, Dad, how was work? And I said, it was great, dude. It was great. He goes, did you make money so we can go do the games? And I said, yeah, buddy. I made some money so we could go do the games. And so now every day when I leave, he says, have a good day at work, Dad. My kids know where I'm going and why.
Yep.
And they know if it wasn't on purpose, if my day wasn't on purpose, I would be with them then.
Right.
That's the two options for me. I'm not going to go hang out at Top Golf. It's just not on purpose.
I'm robbing from my family.
Yeah. I'm not hanging out at the bar. Sorry, not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You want that guy? Find someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's family and work.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I have some hobbies. I like to hunt and fish and do that stuff, but I include my family in those things.
Mm-hmm. That's money.
Yeah.
Now, is there any part, this made me think of it, is there
Yeah.
any part of the process when you're bringing on agents and team members and admin where you're like, hey, I'd really like to meet your spouse?
Absolutely.
Is that part of the, I say interview, onboarding.
So we don't do it a part of the interview, but we throw a heck of a Christmas party.
Okay.
And we do that more. I say more for the spouses, but it really is.
Yeah.
So we usually rent a room for this year to be most agents. Just depends on the volume. But we get a room and we take care of the whole night because no one celebrates themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We do a huge casino night, a huge raffle,
Fun.
open bar, everything, and we celebrate the spouses there.
I like that.
But that's usually, and then usually we do one event a month that we include, a month a year that we include the spouses as well, like a Top Golf or a dinner or something
fun.
like that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Especially for the admin and all that. They're usually
Yeah.
included on most of everything.
Yeah, those spouses need to be shown that appreciation.
Yeah, and
for
I'm
the
usually
support.
like texting with the person that works with me, and I'm like, tell Taylor this. I'm sorry about this, you know, or I'll send them some crumble, or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
just
there
like
you
stuff.
go.
But
yeah,
it's their family's just as part as my family. Like we share all the same cleaning ladies. We share all, you know what I mean. Like it's when you find your tribe, you got to run, and that's what the thing. Like I've hired incredible people. Like I would put up my
Special.
people. Yeah,
It's special.
it is. It's very special. They're involved and they see the vision. They see themselves in the vision,
Yes.
and that's important.
The vision's big enough that their vision can fit in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Well, as we wrap up,
Yes.
parting advice for those up and comer newer agents that are wanting to break that 6-figure mark. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to make over 100.
Yeah.
How do I get there fast? What's the number one thing you would say?
20 conversations a day will keep the boogeyman away.
20 and shoot for the 2-minute
2
mark.
minutes.
Yeah.
Because a conversation is not a conversation unless it's 2 minutes or longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say 20 2-minute conversations. It's everything.
And that it's impactful because it's leading them somewhere.
Yes. It may be someone that you may not close for a year. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're having meaningful real estate conversation with 20 people a day. And I mean, we did a competition because most agents are like, I can't do that. We had a competition. Our first agent hit it in 2 hours. The second agent hit it in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I mean, out of an 8-hour day,
Yeah.
they were done in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. And then the third agent did it in 2 hours and 58 minutes. We gave 3-hour window.
Love it.
On average, everyone hit 10. Like 10.
So
10 will change your life.
Right. Yeah. So it is possible.
Oh, yeah.
And then it shows the belief, like the 4-minute mile.
Exactly. Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
I'm
the
showing
same
the
thing.
belief. Like,
yes.
let's prove this.
It's the receipts. People want to see receipts.
Yeah.
And you got to show them.
Dude, this has been great.
Thank
Man,
you.
thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
on.
Appreciate it,
I
brother.
look forward to the next
Thank
one.
you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you.